Why, hi there, it's Ron Juck, and it's time for the Circuit City pregame show. Peer into the future with Circuit City. It's time for the third game of our three-game series between the Chicago Cubs and Montreal Expos, and I'm sorry the first two have not been compelling viewing for you. The Expos and Cubs have split the two games so far, with the Expos winning 9-2 on Friday and the Cubs winning yesterday's game 9-1. Let's catch you up on what happened last night in baseball. The Minnesota Twins walked 10 batters and Seattle beat them 8-4. Fernando Valenzuela goes the distance as the Giants have taken 2 off the Dodgers 3-2. The other scores: in 10, Texas 4, Milwaukee 2. Philadelphia beat Houston 5-1. San Diego goes to 3-1 with Atlanta with a 3-1 win. The Cardinals beat the Pirates 7-1. And in extra innings, Toronto beat Baltimore 5-2. So the standings are like this. The Cubs have a 1-game lead in the East. Atlanta, Cincinnati, and San Diego are all knotted up in the West. Minnesota and Oakland, your leaders in the American League West. And Boston is undefeated as they go into Sunday at 4-0. So in a moment, it will be the conclusion of our first round of Series of the Week from Wrigley, the Expos, and the Cubs. Why, hi there, I'm Ron Juckett, and Box Score Communications is proud to present Series of the Week today from the north side of Chicago. It's the Chicago Cubs and Montreal Expos. The Cubs and Expos have split the first 2 games of this series in rather lopsided fashion. Today, the rubber match with Rick Sutcliffe and David Palmer on the hill. It is a gorgeous day for April here in Chicago. Again, Chamber of Commerce, crystal clear skies, 56 degrees and very little wind. Sutcliffe, as you know, was a huge part of the Cubs' division-winning effort in '84, and he just couldn't stay healthy in '85. He only could muster pitch 130 innings. But before we get to Sutcliffe's numbers, let's tell you the lineup that he'll be facing, and it's a touch changed from what we've seen the first 2 games from Montreal. Tim Raines will lead off in bat left. Wallace Johnson will be the center fielder. This is his first game of the year. Andre Dawson plays right and bats third. Dan Dreesen cleans up at first. Hubie Brooks bats fifth. He's your shortstop. Tim Wallach is your third baseman. He'll bat sixth. U.L. Washington will be your second baseman. He'll bat 7th. Steve Nicosia also played a while with the Pirates, is your catcher. And David Palmer is your pitcher. He should be about 105 pitches on the old pitch count today. It's Matthews, Bob Dernier, and Keith Moreland in the outfield. Ron Say, Sean Dunston, Ryan Sandberg, and Leon Durham are the infield. Matthews and Moreland, not great defenders. Moreland has a good arm. Dernier, good range, a below-average arm. Matthews has an average arm. Your infield for the Cubs is pretty average. Jody Davis gets the call to catch again today. He's had a pretty big series. And Rick Sutcliffe, who pitched opening day, is on the hill. He's a record of 1-0 with an earned run average of 1.69. 5 innings, 5 hits. He walked 3 and struck out 7. You notice, if you're looking up above it, in the real 85, he threw only 130 innings, allowed 119 hits, went 8-8, but still had a very healthy earned run average of 318. As long as he's healthy, he'll pitch. He should give you about 120 pitches. So as we get set for Game 3, Tim Raines steps in. Timmy at 389, 7 for 18, no homers, and an RBI. He has stolen 4 bases. Remember, he stole 3 in Friday's contest. They expect a bunt to the Cubs, and he doesn't. It gets to Dunston, and he let the ball play him. He just had a wicked hop on him, and he just couldn't grab it. So that's the worst way you start out. You got the error. So Raines on first, and that's obviously not Roy Johnson, the current player from the Brooklyn Dodgers. I thought it was Wallace. Roy went 0 for 5 in '85. This must have been his lone start. Throw to first. Rains is back. They'll let him seal it. He's safe. So 5 now on the year for Timmy. 4 in the series. The 0-1 is a grounder to Dunston. This time he throws to first for the out. 1 out. For Andre Dawson, who is 5 for 15 on the year, hitting .333. A homer and 1 RBI. Let's hope we get a good one today. We've kind of a couple of clunkers so far in this series. Raines goes for third, and he's safe. And a very good chance to swipe the bag. And Sutcliffe and Davis and the manager fell asleep. So runner on third, 1 out, and a 1-strike count to Andre Dawson. Dawson pops one up. Sandberg will go over by the bag at second. Raines obviously holds. 2 out for Dan Dreesen, who is at .357, 5 for 14 with a homer and 4 RBIs. Dreesen singles to right. Drives home Raines. The Expos are on the board first. 1-0. 2 out for Hubie Brooks. Hubie 4 for 16, 250 with a homer and 2 RBIs. And he'll fly out to Matthews and left. That's the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, no, and 1 error. So after 1/2, it's Montreal 1. The Cubs coming to bat. David Palmer is the pitcher today for Montreal. This will be his first start. Let's set up the defense for you for the Expos. Timmy Raines, great arm, average range. Johnson, I didn't catch the first name, average arm and no range. Andre Dawson at right, the best outfielder of the 3 defensively. Timmy Wallach at third. Hubie Brooks at short. UL Washington, a below-average second baseman. Most of his career, he was a shortstop for the Royals. And Dan Dreesen will be your first baseman. Steve Nicosia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Not much of an arm, so the Cubs will run and run often in decent range. And Palmer, his first start of the cyber season, and the real campaign, 7-10 his record, a .371 ERA, 135 hits, 135 innings. I made that mistake every game. 128 hits, walked 67, and struck out 106. The lineup they'll face has been the same the Cubs have run out the first 2 days. It's Bob Dernier in center. Ryan Sandberg will bat second. Gary Matthews, the Sarge, at third. Will bat third. Leon Durham will bat fourth. Keith Moreland will bat fifth. Ron Say bats sixth. Jody Davis, the catcher, bats seventh. Sean Dunston, eighth. And Rick Sutcliffe, the pitcher, will bat ninth. And we get ready to go. Expos are playing for the bunt. Dernier at .267. No homers and an RBI. We do not bunt. Ground ball to Brooks. Throw to first in time. Sandberg, the batter. .294. Average is now up. It's amazing what you can do in April. 5 out of 17 with no homers or RBIs. Sandberg lays one down, foul. So the count is 0-2. And he'll swing and fly one to Johnson in center. Backs up and makes the grab. 2 out. For Gary Matthews, .385, no homers and 2 RBI, 5 for 13 on the year. He grounds a single through the hole. So the first runner for the Cubs is Matthews. For Leon Durham, Leon at .278, 5 for 18 on the year. He has 4 RBI and no home runs. And they try to hold Matthews on it first, with a 17% chance to steal. That's great baseball for you. Durham, the batter. And he'll swing and miss, strike 3. No runs, 1 hits, no errors. We've played 1. The Expos 1, the Cubs nothing. Tim Wallach leads off the second. UL Washington and Nicosia to follow. Timmy struggling. 1 for 15. That 1 hit, though, was a home run. And he has 2 RBI. Swings and pops one up to Dunston. Goes in the grass behind short and makes the grab. 1 out. For UL Washington, who has pinch hit 3 times, twice in the series, 1 for 3. And delivers a base hit to right. So Washington singles on the first pitch. And Nicosia, the batter. Steve has pinch hit once. 0 for 1. Not a hitter and not a bunter. 169 on the regular season with an RBI, no home runs. For the first, Washington is back. Nicosia draws a walk. Oh, Sutcliffe didn't want to do that on a full count. So that'll bring up David Palmer. And the Cubs will play bunt. He obliges to say, throws to Sandberg at first, 2 out. It works. So the Expos have Washington at third and Nicosia at second. And Raines at the plate, who reached on an error and scored his first time up. He lines a single to right to score both. Washington and Nicosia, and the Expos are up on Sutcliffe 3-0 for Roy Johnson, who's 0 for 1. They throw down and Raines just steals the bag. So that's 2 today, 5 this weekend, and 7 total. The 0-1 is a line drive, base hit to right. Here comes Raines to score. It's 4-0. Sutcliffe just looks off. 4-0 on that. Andre Dawson's 0 for 1. And he'll single to left. So Johnson stops at second, Dawson on first, and Sutcliffe looks lost out there. Dan Dreesen the batter. Dan is 1 for 1, singled and an RBI. That RBI gives him 5 on the year. The pitch, ball 4. Oh, it hit him. I beg your pardon. So Sutcliffe now has the bases loaded for Hubie Brooks, who is 0 for 1. And another run here probably breaks this one open. 2 out, second inning. 4-0 Montreal. The pitch, grounded to Dunston, throw to first in time. Not before the Expos pile on 3 runs on 4 hits after an inning and a half. It's 4-0 Montreal. Much like the task that Scott Sanderson had with the Cubs yesterday, David Palmer can now relax and just get in some work. The Expos are pounding Rick Sutcliffe. And so he has a 4-run lead here in the second. Keith Borland, the batter. Keith at 188, 1 homer and 2 RBIs, 3 for 16. And he swings and misses a fastball for strike 3. 94 from the native of Glens Falls, New York, David Palmer. And as a native of Glens Falls, New York, I think that's pretty cool. Ron Say, the batter. The Penguin at 375, 2 homers and 4 RBIs. Or RBI. Say swings and pops one to left. In comes Raines and out goes Wallach, and Wallach will grab it for the second out. Jody Davis, the batter. Jody, 286, 2 homers and 4 RBI. And he swings and misses strike 3. So 2 in the books. No runs, no hits, no errors. Montreal 4, Chicago nothing. Well, Sutcliffe has enough of a pitch count that he can get you 5 or 6. I think the Cubs would love that. And you'll see Lee Smith pitch today regardless of the situation at some point. Tim Wallach, the batter, he's 0 for 1. And he'll fly one to left. Matthews goes in the corner, 1 out. Wallach is now hitting .059. So unusual. UL Washington singled and scored his first time up. He will single to right center. And so that's the 6th Expo hit off of Sutcliffe this afternoon. Nicosia walked and scored his first time up. Washington goes, and they throw him out. So 2 out. You had a 63% chance. You got to do it, I suppose. Cubs really didn't care. Big out. Nicosia grounds one to Dunston, throws to first in time. So no runs, no 1 hit, and no errors. 2.5 down. Montreal 4, Chicago nothing. I don't understand why you wouldn't have been more patient there. If you were a base runner, why would you run yourself out for the out? You've hit Sutcliffe silly so far, and you can't be making outs that way. That's just not good. Sean Dunston, the batter, 385, no homers or RBIs. Expos have 4 runs on 6 hits, no errors. They've stranded 4, surprisingly enough. The Cubs, a hit, an error, and they've stranded 1. Dunston flies one to left. Raines goes over. It's out in the Bartman area. Out of play 0-2. Expos are 1-3 on the year. The Cubs are 3-1. Pitch. There's a fly ball to right center. Back goes Dawson. It's gone. A home run for Sean Dunston, and it's 4-1. Rick Sutcliffe, the batter. So for 1 on the year, hit 233. It actually could hit a homer and 3 RBI. Grounds 1 to Brooks. So Reese and 2 out, or 1 out. Rob Dernier, 0 for 1. Palmer at 37 pitches. Good pace. Sutcliffe is at 53. Dernier slaps one in the hole for a single. 1 out for Sandberg. Dernier goes to throw. Not in time. Yeah, 95% chance you have to do it. And so Palmer now has Dernier, who will score on a single at second, and Sandberg, who is 0 for 1. He walks on a 3-1 fastball. Gary Matthews, who singled his first time up, the batter, and there's life in the yard yet. Matthews walks, and they're loaded for Leon Durham. And now everyone is up. 1 out. It gets away from Nicosia. It's a wild pitch. So Dernier scores. It's 4-2. 2 runs now in the inning for the Cubs. And a 2-2 count to Durham. He cuts in. Nicosia grabs it for strike 3. A foul tip right in the glove. 2 runs. I'm sorry, there's 2 outs. Got ahead of myself. So it's not a productive at-bat for Durham. Moreland the batter, and Keith is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Palmer needed that. That's 4 for him on the day. The pitch. There's a line drive base hit. Sandberg scores. Matthews scores. Johnson throws it in, and the game is tied at 4. So Moreland is on first for Ron Say, who was 0 for 1. Palmer gets in the chase on a 2-2 pitch outside the zone. Strike 3. 4 runs, 3 hits, no errors. They're all earned after 3, 4, 4. So Rick Sutcliffe has been given a new life, and David Palmer is the batter. Palmer has not batted. Oh, he was a sac bunt, I believe, his first time up. And he'll watch an 0-2 pitch go by. A fastball from Sutcliffe at 95. Here's Raines, 1 for 2. He has driven in 2 and scored twice. Remember, he reached on an error and scored in the first. The pitch. Here is a line drive, base hit to right. So Raines is on for Roy Johnson, who has already exceeded his real-life hit total by 1 and his real-life RBI total by 1. They pitch out, and the throw goes into center field. Dernier stops it. Rain goes to third. And that gives him 3 stolen bases on the day, 6 on the series, 8 on the year. So as soon as Sutcliffe is given a new lease on life, Raines reaches, steals second. Davis overthrows him, overthrows Dunston, and Raines is on third. Johnson swings and misses strike 3. Davis got a piece of it. So there's 2 out for Andre Dawson. 2 strikeouts now for Sutcliffe, who's at 68 pitches. Dawson singled, 1 for 2 so far. And he will watch strike 3. So Sutcliffe bears down and gets out of it. No runs, a hit, 1 error. They strand 1 to the Expos. 3.5 down. Montreal and Chicago knotted up at 4. Bottom of the order here for the Cubs in the 4th. Davis, Dunston, and Sutcliffe. Forwards are wild. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Montreal. They've stranded 5. 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Cubs. They've stranded 2. Davis 0 for 1, singles to center. Line drive base hit for Dunston, who homered in the 3rd. He only hit 4 on the year in real life and already has 1. Palmer delivers. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Sutcliffe is up in a bunting situation, and that's what the Cubs will try. Palmer, who was cruising through, now is up to 76 pitches. Sutcliffe squares. Wallach throws to second, and they got him. They get Dunston. Wallach is one of the best ever on playing bunts. He will go almost right up to home plate. So he just pounced on it and fired right to second to get the slow Dunston. Dernier is 1 for 2 with a single and scored a run in the 3rd. And he watches strike 3 on a full count fastball. That's the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. The Cubs strand 1. We've played 4. We're tied at 4. Dan Dreesen, 1 for 1 with an RBI, a single. And I believe he was hit by a pitch, too. Flies 1 to center. Dernier comes in, makes the grab, 1 out. Hubie Brooks, 0 for 2. Hubie lines 1 to Durham, 2 out. Scouting does the job there. Durham hadn't played perfectly. Timmy Wallach, 0 for 2. Timmy draws ball 4. So Sutcliffe is walked 2 to go with his 7 hits. 4 runs. Three of those earned, as you saw by that quick glance. Walked 2 and struck out 3. 85 pitches for Rick through 4 and 2. UL Washington is 2 for 2. He has singled twice and scored. And he'll single for the 3rd time. This time to Matthews through the hole. Wallach will hold at second. Washington on first for Nicosia, who is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. And he watches strike 3 at the knees. Halfway home, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. We are tied at 4. Sandberg will lead it off for the Cubs here in the home 5th. Matthews and Durham to follow. Sandberg is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. And he draws a walk. So this is not a pitching duel. Palmer at 93. And now you start to wonder, how much longer do the Expos leave him in? Gary Matthews, the batter. Gary is 1 for 1 with a walk and a single. And a run scored. Scored in the 3rd. Sandberg goes, and they won't even throw. So Sandberg gets his 2nd stolen base of the year. Matthews draws ball 4. And that'll be it. Palmer's done. 4+ innings, 5 hits. He walked 3. He struck out 7. He gave up a homer. The 4 runs on the board are his. They're all earned, and he's responsible for Sandberg and Matthews. He cannot win it and can lose it. Bert Roberge comes in. He pitched Friday. On the year, 4 innings, 4 hits, a home run. He's walked 1, struck out 2. He has no record with an earned run average of .675. Durham, the batter. Leon has struck out twice. And it's a balk. That's the 2nd balk called against the Expos in the series. They called one on Steve Rogers yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Expos someone gets run from this game. This has just not gone well. So Sandberg is on 3rd. Matthews on second. Durham at the plate with the 2-ball count. Do they walk him for Moreland? Nobody out here in the 5th. They pitch. And it's a line drive base hit. Sandberg will score. Matthews will hold with nobody out. Durham is on first. Moreland, the batter, he has a 2-run single to his credit. 1 for 2. And a strikeout. So the Cubs now lead it 5-4. He grounds one to short. Brooks will try to get 2. Matthews scores. They get the force at second, but they will not throw to first. So it's 6-4. 1 out here in the 5th. The Cubs lead. Moreland, the runner on first on the fielder's choice. Ron Say, the batter. He's 0 for 2. Say flies one to left center. Back goes Raines. It hits the wall. It bounces off the wall. Here comes Moreland. Say will hold the throw to the plate. And they got him. A relay from Brooks to Nicosia. And Moreland is tagged out. A big out. 2 out now. It's still 6-4. The double does not score the run. Jody Davis, the batter. Jody is 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. And he'll pop this one up. Brooks by the bag at second makes the play. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors. After 5 complete, it's the Cubs 6, the Expos 4. So there was a double switch that I did not catch. UL Washington is out of the game. Well, Bears bats in the 7th hole, which makes sense. Vance Law, who played second the first 2 games, will bat 9th and play second. Johnson is still in the game. And Sutcliffe somehow could squeeze a win out of this. 8 hits in 5 innings, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 runs, and 3 earned. Law draws a walk. So Raines, the tying run, comes up. He is 2 for 3. He has singled twice. He has scored twice and driven in 2. And stolen 4 bases today. Delivers. Pop-up. Durham's there. By the front of the grass, 1 out. Roy Johnson is 1 for 3 with an RBI single and a strikeout. Expos trail here in the 6th, 6-4. And Herm Whittingham will come in. I'm not surprised at that. Whittingham, however, is 1 for 14. He has struck out 7 times and walked once. No RBI and no homer. When you do these replays as played, as we're doing here, you're going to see people who, like Johnson, who had 5-6 at-bats for the year and got pulled into play 1 game before getting sent back down. I mean, his career was so remarkable. He had someone else's picture. But that's the nature of why you do this, because you want to see as realistic lineups as possible. Whittingham will single to center. Law holds at second. So Sandberg with 1 out had the lead and now is in trouble. When they got into trouble in the 4th, he pitched his way out of it with 2 strikeouts, including 1 for Andre Dawson, who's 1 for 3 with a single. And that's what happens again. On an 0-2 pitch, he gets Dawson looking on a pitch on the outside corner. A changeup at 90. So Dan Dreesen, the batter. Dan is 1 for 2 with an RBI. Pops one up. Dunston moves over. That's the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 5.5 down. Chicago 6, Montreal 4. And Whittingham does move into center field, which is, as we said, not a surprise, and a much better defensive player. It'll be Dunston. We'll see about Sutcliffe and Dernier do up for the Cubs. Sean is 1 for 2 with a homer and a strikeout. Bearish out for a 2nd inning. Foul ball, 2-2. Burt good for about 50 pitches. He's thrown 18 now. Dunston flies one to deep center. Back goes Whittingham, makes the grab. We'll see what we can do with Sutcliffe in the 7th. Because if Sutcliffe can squeeze out one more, then he could go to Lee Arthur Smith for the 8th and 9th. And because the Cubs don't really have anyone that's a setup man that you'd want. Sutcliffe is 0 for 2. Ground ball to second. Law throws to first in time. One of those things that, in an ideal world, you'd have a setup pitcher, but you don't want to burn Lee Smith until you absolutely have to. And with George Frazier and Warren Brewster sporting real-life ERAs over 6, you just don't take the chance. You got to try to win this game. Bernier is 1 for 3, a single, a strikeout, and has scored once. He grounds one to Brooks, throws to first in time. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 6, Chicago leads 6-4. So it really is next base runner time for Sutcliffe. His shoulders are kind of slumped. Manager thinks he's tired, but is really taking one for the team here to get Hubert Brooks, Wallach, and then a pinch hitter because Roberge will not bat. Whittingham, by the way, of course, batting second. In for Johnson. Hubie's 0 for 3. Rounder to Dunston, throw to first, 1 out. Tim Wallach, 0 for 2 with a walk. And he will single to left. So they'll let Montreal announce the pitch hitter for Roberge. They will play the infield back. There's no way Roberge is going to hit here, right? Nope. Terry Francona, who's 0 for 4, will pinch hit. Honestly, I'm really not quite sure why we waited. Because they don't have a lefty available in the pen. We're not going to go with Fontenot again, are we? Nope, the call goes to George Frazier to come in to pitch. Frazier actually got out the batter he needed to. He has 1 strikeout on the year. Sutcliffe is responsible for the man on first in Wallach. I know that 3 of the 4 runs are earned. Gave up all 10 hits. And 6 in the 3rd. Walked 3 and struck out 5. I'm going to leave this up there so you can see the lines on Palmer and Roberge for a second. The Yang Game Box brought to you by Circuit City. The future starts there. Francona is 0 for 4 on the year with a strikeout. Frazier delivers, and there's a fly ball deep to right. Moreland turns and watches it go. Francona with a pinch hit home run, and we are tied at 6. Oh, baby. Oh, they'll be second guessing that one for a while. The homer measured 392 feet. That ball cleared the park. And so they wait for a sec as some of the fans scurry out there onto, I believe that's Waveland. Someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. As the ball gets tossed back in. Nicosia is 0 for 2. He has walked and struck out and scored. 6-6 here in the 7th. Frazier gets him on the corner. Strike 3. Has a pretty good fastball at 96. Vance Law, the batter. Vance walked his first time up. And he walks the second time up. 2 outs for Raines. Tim is 2 for 4. Single twice, scored twice, drove in 2 and stolen 4 bases. And he'll reach on a single. Dernier picks it up. And left center, Law moves to third. Raines is on first. Whittingham, the batter. 6-6 the score. Whittingham singled his first time up. And Frazier fools him on a curve. Strike 3, 2 runs, 3 hits. We're knotted up at 6. Stretch time. Once again, Harry's rooting for his Cubs. 6-6. As Tim Burke takes his warm-up tosses, we can tell you that in 3 innings, he's given up 5 hits. Walked 1, struck out 3. He has no record. and an earned run average of 6. He will face Sandberg, Matthews, and Durham. Rhino is 0 for 1 with 2 walks and has scored twice. Sandberg pops it up. Nicosia takes off the mask. 1 out. Kind of a swirly wind. The flag is just kind of moving just slightly around. I wouldn't call it a wind direction. 62 degrees, and the sky is still that baby blue that you want. Matthews is 1 for 1. He scored twice and walked twice. The Expos have not retired him yet today. Also was hit by a pitch. Gary grounds one up the middle, and Law can't make the play. He moved his eyes before he had it and tried to move with it. You can't do that. You got to make sure you catch the grounder or field the grounder. So Matthews reaches for a 5th time today. And Leon Durham, the batter, in a 6-6 tie. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI single. He has struck out twice. Burke throws to first. Matthews, not a threat to steal. The total so far, 6 runs, 12 hits, an error for Montreal. They've stranded 11. Montreal should have easily be ahead in this game. The Cubs have fought and scratched their way for 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors, and they've stranded 4. Durham watches strike 3. Wow. Fooled him. I think he was looking for a changeup and got a fastball. So Keith Moreland, the batter, 1 for 3 with a strikeout, but he has 3 RBI. Burke in command so far. Moreland to center. Whittingham is there, and that's the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. 7 in the books. We're tied at 6. Frazier, we're now at kind of betwixt and between because the pitcher spot will come up. And I guess you'd hit for Smith if he comes in. 6-6 the score. Top of the 8th. Dawson 1 for 4. Fly ball to left. Matthews there in the corner. 1 out. The Andreessen 1 for 3. An RBI single. 1 out. Dreesen singles to left. A sharp play through the hole. Dreesen no threat to steal. Hubie Brooks the batter. Hubie's 0 for 4. Frazier has given up 3 hits, including a home run. I believe that was to Wallach in his inning. There's a fly ball to right. Back goes Moreland. He turns and watches it go. And so it was 1 batter too many. Hubie Brooks with a home run. It's 8-6 Montreal. So, wow. Tim Wallach, the batter. Timmy's 1 for 3. A walk and a run scored. Wallach flies 1 to right. Matthews goes back 2 out. Tim Burke, the batter. Do they leave him in? He would be the pitcher of record. He'd be the winning pitcher now. Frazier on pace to lose it. Miguel Delaunay will bat. Pinch hitting, 1 for 3. Single and a run scored. And Frazier gets into swing and a miss for down looking for strike 3. So 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors after 7.5. Montreal 8, Chicago 6. And the closer, Jeff Reardon, comes in now. In his 1 relief appearance, he was torched. He gave up a home run and lost the game. On the regular year, oh crap, that was bad managing on my part. I just saw the lineup. Reardon went 2-8 with 41 saves. So keep that in mind. He is good to go the rest of the way. Say is 1 for 3 with a double and a strikeout. Ron takes ball 4. So the tying run is upward for Jody Davis. And the Expos guard against a double. Wallach and Dreesen are right on the lines. Davis hits 1 to Brooks, throws the Law for 1. They don't make the throw, so it's a fielder's choice. We'll swap save for Davis, and there's 1 out for Dunston, who is 1 for 3. He hit a key home run in the 5th, I believe. We can look this up. It was in the third. Struck out in the fourth and flying out deep to left in the sixth. And there's a base hit to left. And Raines bobbles it. Dunston goes to third. He's safe. That was right down the line. He didn't bobble it. It just got past him. And by the time he got it off the ivy, Davis was already around to score. And Dunston goes to third. So it's 8-7. And you bet we'll have a pinch hitter here. One out, I believe. Righty. No, one out. And the very experienced Davey Lopes at the plate. He's pinch hit twice so far this year. He's 1 for 2. Tying run at third with Dunston. One out. Expos are playing it in. And they'll walk Lopes to set up the double play. Lopes goes to seal it. He's safe. Got a 95% chance. So if they want to walk Dernier, be my guest. Dernier grounds one to second. Dunston will hold at third. Law throws to first for the out. 2 out. Lorine Sandberg, who has walked twice and scored twice. He's 0 for 2. Tying run is Dunston. The go-ahead run is Lopes, peeking in behind Reardon there on second. Sandberg, they will walk. So they're loaded for the Sarge. Gary Matthews, 1 for 2. That was Sandberg's third walk of the day. Matthews has walked 3 times today and scored twice. Twice today and scored twice. The pitch. He got him! Swing and a miss on an 0-2 pitch. The Cubs leave him loaded. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the 9th. Montreal 8, Chicago 7. Well, it'll be Lee Smith, who has 2 saves on the year. He's in a situation where he would love to win it. Needs to hold the score at 8-7. Has no ERA. In 4 innings, he has walked 1 and struck out 2. You see above his real-life numbers for the year. 112 strikeouts in 97 innings. And Koja is 0 for 3 with a walk. He has scored and struck out twice. Fly ball to right. Moreland's there. 1 out. Vance Law has walked both times up. He swings and misses on a changeup, strike 3. 2 out. Tim Raines is 3 for 5. Has driven in 2 and scored 2. Hitting .435 on the year now. Pops one up. Dunston goes over in foul territory, makes the grab, and that's the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. We've played 8.5, Montreal 8, Chicago 7. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we asked for a good game, and we got one. Cubs and Expos playing offensive baseball. 8 runs, 14 hits, an error for Montreal. They've stranded 11. The Cubs, who left the bases loaded up in the 8th, 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors. Durham is 1 for 4. Leon has an RBI. He's also whiffed 3 times. Reardon has thrown through 32 pitches in the 8th. It's his game, however, to win or lose. The pitchers of record would be Roberge and Frazier. Durham pops one up. Law goes over into foul territory and makes the grab. 1 out. Roberge would be your winner. Reardon in line for the save. George Frazier would be your loser for Chicago, if this holds. Keith Moreland is 1 for 4. Has 3 RBIs and struck out once. Reardon, 2-2, got him. Just below the belt on the changeup. Ron Say is the last hope for the Cubs. He is 1 for 3 with a double, a strikeout, and a walk. Following the game, we'll give you the MVP, tell you everything that happened in the day in baseball on the Studebaker postgame show. Go visit your Studebaker today to see what's best for 85. Say is ready. With a pitch. He got him. Strike 3 and a full count. So that's the ball game. No runs, no hits, no errors. Montreal 8, Chicago 7. All right, welcome to the Studebaker postgame show. We'll finish this one up here. The Cubs and Expos. Expos beat the Cubs today at Wrigley Field 8-7. 1 in the first for Montreal, 3 in the second, 2 in the seventh, and 2 in the eighth. Those were the winning runs. Chicago battled most of the day. They popped up 4 in the third, 2 in the fifth, and 1 in the eighth, but they fell short. They had the bases loaded and couldn't score them. Your winner is Tim Burke. He's 1-0. Jeff Reardon gets the 2-inning save. Isn't that refreshing, huh? The Expos go to 2-3. George Frazier, seen in one batter too long. Home runs to Hubie Brooks and Terry Francona were the difference. It's a blown save for Frazier because technically he had the lead. Lee Smith comes in and pitches the perfect ninth. We're going to give Tim Raines the Studebaker MVP. Timmy stole 4 bases. He's stolen 8 so far this year. He stole 7 this weekend. Dernier, Lopes, and Sandberg have stolen bases for the Cubs. Montreal stranded 8 or 11, and then Chicago stranded 8. And the time of the game, you take away a half hour from that, 3 hours and 38 minutes. So as the scores pop up on the screen, we'll let them play out. As we'll tell you that next week on Series of the Week, we'll be in Detroit for a rematch of last year's American League Championship Series, Kansas City and Detroit. And Detroit's off to a flying start 4-1. Kansas City, rough one. Detroit won their game today, 3-1 behind Dan Petrie. So let's go through them. The Red Sox made 4 errors in their game. Jim Rice hits 2 homers, 3 hits. They beat the White Sox 11-6. They're 5-0. California beat Oakland 6-3. Dwight Gooden goes the distance in a 9-0 shutout. He struck out 9. Darryl Strawberry, 2 homers and 5 RBIs in that one. Gooden goes to 2-0. The Mets are 3-2. How many hits did he allow? A 6th hitter for Gooden. He walked 3 in that one. Jay Tibbs takes the loss. So remember, this was the year that Gooden went 24-4. We told you that Detroit beat Kansas City 3-1. That's our series next week in Detroit. Nolan Ryan struck out 8 in 7 innings, allowed 2 walks as Houston loses in 10 to Philadelphia, 6-3. San Francisco pumps out 617 hits as they thrash the Dodgers 14-4. Wow. Right, I think that was all the highlights. Everything else, here we go. Texas beats Milwaukee in 13, 5-4. Minnesota down Seattle 7-2. The game you just saw, Montreal 8-7 over Chicago. The Yankees beat Cleveland 3-0. Phil Niekro gets the win. St. Louis beats Pittsburgh 6-3. Toronto beats Baltimore 5-4. San Diego shut out by Atlanta 1-0. So there you see it. Batting leaders, Rudy Law for Montreal hitting .571, gotta love April. Gorman Thomas for Seattle has 5 home runs and 10 RBIs. Tim Raines has stolen 8 bases. You've just seen 7 of them. Pitching numbers kind of too early to get much out of that. So, until next week, when we talk to you from Detroit with Kansas City and the Tigers, this is Ron Juckett for Studebaker and the Studebaker postgame show for Series of the Week. We'll see you the next time.